Welcome back to the Social Seller Podcast with Conor Paulsen, where we interview the world's highest quality communicators, professionals, business owners, creatives, and everything in between. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you're a high quality communicator, there's a good chance you're living a lot happier life, but you're also bringing those opportunities into your life almost like a magnet. My guarantee is that on this show, we only interview people that I, one, look up to, and two, that I know are going to continue to kill the game for years to come, and I want to make sure they're on your radar. But what I've learned is by asking the best questions, we get the best responses, and that's what the highest quality communicators, our social sellers, are all about. Let's hop inside to the Social Seller Podcast.
There's so many emotions running through you. We spoke about, imagine tapping into emotions that you never knew existed. And you're not a kid. Being an adult, it's like you think you would know, you think you would feel like a lot of the emotions that you had. But for me, it was like my first day on the planet, like my first time opening my eyes. Like you're seeing things that you didn't know existed. You're feeling things that you didn't know you could feel. All at once, you have this rush of energy and emotions running through your body, and you're trying to figure it out. You're like, how do we put the pieces of the puzzle together? Because it feels like someone just threw a champagne bottle off of the Space Needle and it's shattered into a million pieces, and you just want to put it back together. And that's all I wanted to do. I was like, how do I fix this? You know, how do I help this person? Not only how do I help this person, how do I help a million other people that are going through the same thing? And that was very difficult. And I spoke to her, and that was a journey of going to like doing a 5150. I didn't know what that was, and like trying to get her off the street, going to the psych ward, and like it was crazy because you start learning things too that I had never been inside of a psych ward before, and like I just wanted to get her help. And sometimes when you're dealing with someone that has that level, some people are like, oh, it's like talking to someone that can't see or doesn't have legs. If they don't have legs, they can't walk. But it's difficult sometimes for people to get, and even myself, I'm still learning about mental sickness, that you can't just tell someone, hey, be positive or feel better. Yeah. It's not that simple. The mind is very complex. And so it was a journey for me to see, like, even with a lot of effort, and that's why we see maybe so many homeless people on the street, it's not a simple fix. It's a very, very complex challenge that we face today in maybe every major city. And I would love to see change in that area just because it's something that hits home for me. And these people that we see on the street, we might see them holding a sign, we might see them sitting down asking for food or money, but these are people's kids, husbands, wives. They're good people, you know? And so I connected or resonated with a deeper love for the homeless community, because they can be literally just everyday people, and life takes a shift or a turn for whatever reason. And now they go from living an everyday life to living life on the streets, which is obviously super rough. But just seeing behind what we see, like right there, you know, to kind of imagine the story behind that. And so each time I pass a homeless person, I see my ex-wife's face. And it's a bit awkward, but it's the reality. But then that helps me appreciate every time I blink, every time my heart beats, every time I have the opportunity to help someone. I feel obligated and responsible and aware to make sure I do it in any way possible.
Yeah. So. Wow. Damn. So many takeaways, so many teaching points. Holy shit, man. I didn't know any of this.
I know.
You're just such a happy guy.
I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's do it.
No, exactly. Exactly. Because this resonates with people. And like, I know right now I'm resonating in so many different forms. I don't know if we talked about it, but Streets of Hope, San Diego. I've been involved for like 6 or 7 months. And Mondays from 6 to 8 p.m. Wow. We volunteer over at the Smart and Final.
Okay.
And we're helping the homeless. You know, any of the West Coast cities all have a large homeless population.
Yeah.
And if anyone's going to talk about a potential downside to San Diego or they're going to do the pros and cons list. Usually that potential con being the homeless. Like everything about San Diego is incredible, but they're going to say homeless. And I remember moving here and I was like, I want to figure out an organization to get involved in. For whatever reason, there was this pull towards like, what's the biggest problem? And then it was pretty evident after living here 6 months, like, oh, okay, people, in it, what I saw is a lot of people my age, 20, 30s, 40s, in some form, even if they're trying to be kind, I could tell they were talking down to them. And that's what killed me, because I didn't understand it, right? Where I grew up, yeah, we had some homeless people around, but like it wasn't to this degree. And where it's a lifestyle, and this curiosity in my mind is like, I don't think anyone would want to be homeless, right? So let's dive into the biggest challenge, or I want to go see it, right? What if at the very least I can better understand and communicate that with my friends, the ripple effect, like, hey, this is a human behind it. Don't look at them as the animal in a cage at the zoo. Exactly. They're different than me. Damn, they live on the streets. No. And what's eye-opening is just spending time with them. And you've had this experience looking for your wife. You're going to bring a tone and an energy and such a presence that you want to just listen, right? Because that little tidbit of their story could help you find your wife. And for me, realizing the vast majority do not want to be homeless, right? And like you had said, it's all of the adversity that's happening. It just woke my ass up to, damn, my life could be right there too. With a couple things that go on. It's mental health, it's mixed with a divorce, it's mixed with some kind of adversity that can take any form. Anyone that's homeless has gone through adversity just like you or me, in whatever way we're going through. We all have some form of adversity. And then you meet the ones that are just like, I am trying my absolute hardest. Like, I want to be off the streets. Is there anything you can do? When you meet those people, that's awesome, right? Some of the people, it's like, I've lost a job. It's so embarrassing for them to be on the streets. Like, they're not in a good headspace. And then, a lot of times they don't have access to their medications. And so it's something like 80% or more of homelessness in the U.S. have mental health issues. Now, they don't have access to medications. So what do you start doing when you have these emotions that you can't control? You want to escape. What do you escape with? Substances. But you don't have money, so you're going to buy the cheapest shit. And it's this continual, just like any of us listening, we're escaping every time we consume a substance. Coffee, for instance. Yes, it's an upper. Like, it's not a need. It's not an essential. But, like, it's any substance you do, right? It's alcohol. It's cannabis. It's whatever. But we're escaping something. And I try to be aware of it.
Sometimes.
What was that?
I said social media.
Social media,
escape,
absolutely.
like.
Yeah,
there's so many.
Anything, and I think they talk about this in Taoism, is anything that isn't being moderated, right? The second that we don't have control of it, we couldn't easily turn it off, or stop at that level. Then you start showing kind of some degree and direction towards an addiction. So, yeah. And I say that because I have to be very aware of it. I'm a high energy person, but I love to have fun too. And there's a balance, right? There's a balance. 100%. Do you relate to that at all?
Yeah. That's why another reason the frequencies and the levels why we connect. And that word balance is something that I've tried to figure out for a long time because it means something different to everyone, right? Like, we might see someone that a guy or girl, and they're super strong or very muscular, and that might be their balance. For you, you're very fit and that's your balance. But that word balance, it means something different, I feel like, to everyone. But definitely surrounding yourself with the right people that are selfless, that are aware, that are humble, kind, and looking to elevate you as an individual, to me, is a huge foundation. And keeping you like humble, like making sure that you keep your ego aside, put your pride aside, because no one cares about that. People want to know how much you care. They don't care how much you know. And that's important, to surround yourself with people that are going to be real with you and honest and organic and raw, and tell you what you don't want to hear, not the things you do want to hear. And it can be a little painful sometimes, but the results are astronomical when you see what comes out of that, of surrounding yourself with people who are like, hey, I notice you're struggling with this, you're dealing with this. Let's talk about it. Or how can we move away from this association that may not be the best or the healthiest for us or for you or for me? I love that space. And I know you're not afraid of that space, because we've spoke on a level of those things. And you surround yourself. You've introduced me to so many great people. honestly, within the last week even.
Yeah. Likewise.
And so, it's like it speaks a lot of your character and who you are by looking to see who you surround yourself with.
I appreciate that. I learned a really good, I don't even know what you call it, nice little mindset with this. And it's the difference between being nice and kind, right? And the reality is the vast majority of the world is nice, right? It's you have that friend, regardless if they're your closest friend or, they're just a good friend. And it's knowing when they're not acting authentically and they might be a little off track. But if you have a close enough relationship, a nice person, it might see it and it's like, no, that's Oscar's problem, right? Like that's him. He's on his own path. Like, yeah, I get it. That's nice. That's what the majority of the world is going to do. More than 9 out of 10 people. Kind is I'm willing to be uncomfortable with you to help you, right? So that would be a few weeks ago, Oscar and I were on a call. And I know he was he had finals coming up, and he has more clients than ever before. He has more work on his hands. He has more obligations than ever before. He has a girlfriend in his life, and he's 21 years old. Like, I know at 21, it was hard for me to balance these things. And we're on a call just talking about some of the interviews coming up, scheduling things, and I could just hear it in his voice. I knew he was tired, very tired, and it was progressive. I haven't heard him this tired in a while, and I just kind of asked him, be real with me, like, how are you on your sleep, like, consistently, like, not just last night? And he's like, oh, like 3-4 hours, blah blah, and like I could just hear it in his voice. And I told him that. I was like, hey, is it okay if I give you some feedback? I want the best for you. I love you, brother. We're in this together. He's like, absolutely. He's like, that's what I appreciate about you. And I was like, you got to pick it up with the sleep. Like, this has got to be a priority. Like, the current lifestyle isn't sustainable. And all I did was explain, I've gone through this. I care about you.
Yeah.
And so I just explained mine. And we have that type of relationship where it's not like I'm that uncomfortable now, but it was uncomfortable for a long time. It's a shift that's only happened for the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. And he was so appreciative of it. And like, that's the same energy we have for each other. Like, and I want anyone here to call me out, right? Like, that's another level of friendship that I didn't have in my life consistently, probably a year ago or prior. It could be closer to 6 months. And I think that can be as simple as like the person, let's say someone on your team is getting ready for a meeting and they just finished lunch and they're coming in to present. And you're the management, right? And this is someone on the team, blah, blah, blah. You're coming in. They come out of the bathroom, and all of a sudden, right before they go in, you see they have, like, lunch in their teeth, right? 9 out of 10 people are nice. I'm not going to say anything. That's right. Fine. He'll figure it out. I don't want to be uncomfortable, like, telling him I don't even know him that well. The kind person is going to pull him aside and just be like, hey, I know you got a big meeting. I'm so excited to hear this, right? And, hey, just want to let you know, I hope you had a good lunch. Just go look in the mirror quick. I got your back, brother.
I love it. I love that.
Something like that, because I'm willing to be uncomfortable with you, right? I like this. This is a new concept in my mind, so I'm still like playing with it. But this was taught to me from a coach on a call earlier this week, and I like it. The difference between nice and kind.
Yeah.
Right? And we always want to be kind. I'm willing to be uncomfortable and enter that uncomfortable space with you. And by doing that, in my opinion, I think it enhances that relationship too. It shows you 100%. I'm in this for you.
It's powerful. It's powerful for so many reasons, in the sense that you resonate at a level where most people that would do that would probably be family or close friends that are willing to go into this unknown area that can be a little bit dicey. And by doing that, you're pulling back the strands and you're going a little bit deeper beyond what the surface level of what many would be willing to go for. And by doing that, you make a connection that is organically resonating with the person on a level where you can feel a sense of comfort. Even if it's weird at first, you're going to be like, wow, this person has my best interest. They're looking out for me. Like, I can connect with that. So, but it comes natural, or maybe you're learning to become more efficient or effective at it. But I feel like for you, you're natural, charismatic, your character, your energy in making that connection. So for me, when I see you, it's like, oh, you could do this in his sleep. But I'm taking notes. As we go on, I'm taking notes from you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words. And the truth is, it's just like recently become a little bit more comfortable for me. I have a little bit more confidence doing it because I see how it impacts people, right? But this is still very new. It really is, and I want to be real about it. But like, there's been a little shift just in the last 60 days. By doing it, I see how relationships are being enhanced and how it's becoming easier and easier to do. And I think there's a level of like, it's the tone, it's the confidence, it's the authenticity you're coming to it with when you're presenting it like that. Like, there still has to be the right context, right? It's not just low blow, like, bro, you have shit in your teeth. Like, I mean, you could do that. I don't know if they're going to understand why you're coming from that place, but I think it enhances the relationship. How many people do you have in your life? We all like to say, I want to have friends, I want to have my girlfriend or boyfriend, and they make me a better version. Do you take it that seriously where you can have those hard conversations too? And I know like the shit in your teeth is like a little concept, but it's also not necessarily calling them out, but letting them know you're a supporter, and I think the best supporters. I mean, I think it's why you and me have this depth of relationship where, you know, we've probably been around each other in person 4 or 5 times, like separate occasions to this point, which isn't anything crazy. We're still learning a lot about each other's stories. And I do want to dive in too. Help me understand the companies you're running. So you get compliments for your fashion, and you have such a unique style. I love it. It tells me, I mean, when we walk through your apartment, your living space is everything. The way you communicate, I can tell you're a world traveler, and you've been all over it. But on the business end, what do you have? Where are your priorities?
So, great question, by the way, and thank you. And I'm glad we started with the journey, because that led me to have the belief system that I do today, to have the routine as we discussed, to have the motivation. When I went through the shift or the change with some of the things that happened, I said life is short, right? You could be doing one thing one day, and the next day the person that you love the most is gone. Without you planning on it, maybe you didn't get to make that phone call. Maybe you didn't get to say that goodbye. Whatever that means for you in your life is too short to mess around. You gotta like seize the day. It's just my belief. So for me, when I had that shift from going from being in a dark place, it went to the opposite. Like, once I decided, and with the help of friends, family, God, like a lot of things involved, turn the light on, I saw things literally in a different light. So it became colorful. I started a nonprofit organization for the homeless. I started a clothing line called Love Backwards Evil, and Love in French, Evil Amour. I believe the most powerful thing in the world is love, and God is love. So I wanted to use the most powerful thing to identify like that connection, whether it's through food, music, fashion, resonates with everyone. So Evil Amour became my line. The nonprofit, of course, in memory of what I went through with my wife. And I was like, I want it to be colorful. I want it to resonate I want it to be personal. I want it to be fun. So fun to me is when you look at someone with the vibrant color on. When you see him, you're like, what the hell are they wearing? You're like, what are they doing? But you're like, you feel it, right? You just look at them. And I feel like what you have on is a different language in itself. It speaks before you even speak. It tells me a story. It tells me how you feel. It tells me where you're going or where you've been. And so that was one of the companies. Another one, I also started doing real estate and collecting properties. And then my latest one which is also passionate, like I'm passionate about food, but more importantly, I'm passionate about helping people. So I was a firefighter for a while, and I love the way I was able to connect with the community, help people. I went on calls, and it wasn't fires. It was mostly like responding to medical calls, suicides, car accidents. And so you see some stuff that most people don't see. But I learned from a very young age that I love creating opportunity and helping people. It's probably part selfish. I enjoy it. It brings me joy. Yeah. And so the latest company that we just started maybe a year and a half ago is Cook Casa. So Cook Casa is basically the Uber of cooks, or the Airbnb of chefs. So we create culinary experiences by sending on-demand chefs right to your location. It's a one-stop shop for any culinary experience. Pure marketplace for chefs, so creating opportunity for people that love to cook, chefs all around the world. There's one place you want to go if you want to have an immersive dining experience. So we bring the taste of Italy, if it's an Italian cook, right to you without no grocery shopping, no cooking, no cleaning. And it's created over 500 jobs for people today, and we want that to grow to 5 million jobs or experiences for people to just when they want to work. Maybe it's a chef that things slowed down because of the pandemic. Now they have the opportunity to do some work on this platform. And so my father a long time ago said the greatest thing you could do is create opportunity for someone. One of the things you can do, or help them.
I love that.
And so fortunately we have a team now that's been able to do that. So Cook Casa is up and running. We're excited, and we're looking forward to sharing the experiences, not just with San Diego and LA, but going global.
I love it. And when I look into Cook Casa, not only have so many people talked about it, I just didn't understand what was going on. And then that's the universe when we meet in Mexico, and it's like, oh yeah, you're the magic behind it. I'm excited to experience one of these. And in the last couple of years, I've learned how food brings people together in a level that I just don't get. And now I realize why people all around the world do it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter the culture. It's just food and that experience and taste and experiencing new things and travel. And it's beautiful. What are you the most excited for in 2021 with Cook Casa? What are you looking forward to the most?
Looking forward to just this new thing. It's exciting, it's fun, and people are like, okay, what's going on here? Because we're used to more people are eating out and they're cooking less, but they enjoy a home cooked meal. And bringing the taste of Korea or Japan inside of your home, creating this experience, like you said, some of the most powerful things have happened over weddings, business meetings. We always try to involve food behind it, right? Food makes so many people happy. Like, it's timeless. It never gets old. It's the only time you use your five senses is when you're eating food. You smell it, you taste it, you see it, and all of a sudden you're just like, damn, this is good. Even before you even taste it, sometimes you're like, you can hear it being prepared. And so for me, one, creating more opportunities for chefs all around the world, and two, bringing experiences, whether it's an Airbnb guest or whether it's for corporate or whether it's just for an anniversary setting or whatever it may be, bringing these experiences culturally, being so rich with culture where I come from having one parent from like Africa, and then my mom is from America and growing up listening to tribal music, and then my mom is black, white, and Indian, and then we're eating one thing over here and another, bringing all these experiences right to someone's home so you can connect and resonate with their cultures all around the world. You don't have to travel to the other side of the world to experience that culture. So I'm really excited about bringing these experiences to everyday people like you and I.
I love it. I'm so excited. Yes, I get it. I get why this came together and just why it's doing so well, why you're growing so fast. I have not seen that many 5-star reviews on any kind of like Google page or Yelp for like, it's literally been a long time. Oh, I'm going to look it up.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
I'm not looking at the ratings. I'm just looking at like, what the hell is this? It sounds interesting. Interesting. I love that. And you're a high energy, happy individual. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, from everyone we've been able to introduce each other to, everyone's so excited. And there's a certain level of authenticity when we introduce people to each other. And everyone you've introduced me to, they're just so excited to see you. You walk into a restaurant, you walk into a coffee shop, you walk into anywhere, and you just have a presence, right? And everyone's excited. You make smiles, right? We can walk in somewhere and it's like, let's bring this energy up, right? And it's not the natural, like that's just happening subconsciously. What would be your number one piece of advice to someone in business, whether they just started a year ago, it doesn't matter the business type, or just anyone that wants to create in life that's listening to this as we close out? What would just be, what comes to mind right off the bat?
First and foremost, that's a great question. I graduated through 3 accelerators in the last probably year, going through them. Some of the greatest business minds, greatest teachers, financially successful, because I associate success in different ways, emotionally, like spiritually, financially. So financially, when we're talking business, successful people that their companies may have went public, or maybe they're worth hundreds of millions, or maybe they're just worth a few 100,000. These are the people that I work with every single day. And I would say, from hearing from the greatest of the greats, for someone that is just starting off, or they want to know if it's going to work, you have to pull the trigger. Just go for it. Take the leap of faith. Turn the thought, execute. Execution is key. And be effective and consistent with what you do. Do not go halfway. Go all the way. If you're going to do it, just go for it. And do not look back. And some people are not going to understand it. Some people are going to question it. They're going to say, oh, you're crazy. What are you doing? But as soon as that works, you go from being crazy to being a genius. So whatever you believe in, whatever you're doing, Don't half-ass it. Go 1,000,000,000% and do not stop. And just take the leap of faith. You got to jump. At some point, once you jump, you got to commit. There's no looking back. You got to go all the way and not give up. So that's my little token from some of the greatest of the greats that I talked to. I'm friends with the founder of GoFundMe. We had a conversation the other day, and I was like, dude, it's getting rough. Things are getting, like, the pandemic, this and that. He's like, dude, shut up, whatever. Make it happen. Evolve. Shift some things. I don't want to hear excuses. Just go for it. Make it happen. Like, I was like, wow. He's like, I've had companies that didn't work. You just keep going. He's like, don't give up. Those 3 words, don't give up. Period. Quitting is not an option. That's what I have for him.
Don't give up. The other 3 words, keep fucking moving.
Yeah,
like, just do it. Do it.
Man.
There's going to be bad days. Embrace the crazy. That's what I love. Embrace the crazy. Define right now. I am crazy. Like, not crazy in the I need to go on a war, but like I am so crazy passionate about this. We all have that in us. And I want to appreciate you again. My man, thank you for doing this, dude. This is so much fun.
I'm glad we got to know each other a little better.
Right? There's so much, so many takeaways. Now it's like, who are we going to introduce each other? Yeah. Who are we going to introduce each other to next? Thank you so much for tuning in again. We have a lot of cool content coming up. Not only following Niall, you can follow Cook Casa on Instagram. You can find him too. We'll put all of those links to his website and everything in the description. Thanks again for the feedback. Over the last few weeks, we are always trying to implement and try new things. So leave comments below. If you got any value from this today, please leave a like. That helps the algorithm show it to more people so we can keep upgrading the equipment and make this a better experience for you too. Thank you. Tuesdays at 9 a.m. We'll see you on the inside.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Thank you, brother. Beautiful.